Today I want to do some follow-up to the previous video blog on false empathy and how it really goes south when someone says all the right things, but their actions kind of cancel out their false empathy. Again, I want to reiterate to you, early on in our recovery, Samantha couldn't really trust what I was saying because she would call me the master salesman. The people that found out about my affairs and ended up terminating me from my position even said, when everything was said and done, if I was Samantha, I would never trust him again. That dude can sell ice to Eskimos. There's nothing he can't sell. He'll probably go have a great career in sales because I'll never trust him again, and I don't think Samantha ever will either. I'm very happy to say Samantha does trust me incredibly. I'm very happy to say we have gotten to the other side. I will give credence to the fact, though, that my gift was being used against me, it seems. I am someone that's had to learn how to communicate, and I know that I do have a skill set that at some level works, but I do know that people use that against me sometimes all the time. And they'll say, you know, you're just trying to sell me on something, or, you know, you're just trying to make money off my pain. No, 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 I'm not. But I will tell you that this chasm, if you will, of how to display empathy, but yet how to not be labeled a salesman, is really a grenade. And so what I thought would be good is today to give you some pointers. If you're an unfaithful spouse, I want to give you some ways that you can show empathy. I want to give you some things to not do as well as to do that will help you not make some of the same mistakes that I made early on. The first thing I need to say, though, is if you're a betrayed spouse, there's going to be some frustration on behalf of the unfaithful, because the unfaithful, if they're legitimately trying, is going to come up against the idea that you have of them, the reputation that they have built for themselves. And so I know early on I was trying to be empathetic. I really, truly was. Samantha was pissed and continued to call me her special name. That was a cuss word, and I couldn't break through the barrier. It was my fault, not hers. I was the one that made her a victim. It wasn't her fault. She had lived with me for 10 years. She knew my faults. She knew my gifts. And so it was a battle. But we finally, through Rick's help as well as our mentor's help, we finally found a way to communicate empathetically. So if you're an unfaithful, here's a few things to do. Number one is make eye contact. If you're constantly looking away, I know, I'm sorry, I did it wrong, and I know, it's really hard to believe you, okay? Alternatively, if you are someone who is a salesman or an attorney or someone who has maybe even a police officer who's very good at making eye contact, be aware of that and have the awareness to say, you know what, hold on, I know that I'm very good at this. Maybe I do need to look away a little bit. Maybe I do need to kind of really find an authentic way to communicate unlike I've ever communicated before. I'm not telling you to get in character and strategically look away. That's ridiculous. But I am telling you that your reputation precedes you, and so you're going to have to find a way to authentically communicate face-to-face to your spouse that isn't like you are in character in your day job. Number two, try and say this. Say, I was wrong. I am so sorry for how wrong I was. Get away from, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Side note, never eye roll. Just say you were sorry, say you were wrong, say that you are trying to find a way to communicate genuinely for how sorry you are, how wrong you were. Here's a good one that gained more ground with Samantha than anything else. When we were kind of in this dialogue, and I was repenting or apologizing or saying how sorry I was, and there was kind of this moment where it was like, in me, I was like, please God, let us be done. And Samantha kind of was just taking a breath. I would then say this, this is only for the brave or only for the courageous. I said, is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Or I would say, is there anything else that you want to address? Or I would say, look, what else can I help you with? Or what else can we talk about? Because I really want to help you. If you want to be a recovery master, use that line, but mean it. Because when you're willing to step into the pain and go further in the dialogue, it's going to help you immensely. Another thing to do, but you have to be very careful that it's not appearing to be that you are taking notes to just find ways to fight back, but it is to take notes. For me, I started taking notes because I would forget things, or I would lose recollection of what she was saying. So one morning we were in the kitchen, I said, well, what is it that it was so bad about what I said? And she said, well, first of all, and I was like, uh-oh. And so I started to write, and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm literally taking notes because I want to remember this. And Rick told me, because he did. And so she was like, okay, it was a little weird. I know you're kind of like, take notes? Listen, if you mean it, you'll take notes. If you want to really have what your spouse is saying to you sink in, take some dang notes and just shut up. Next is, don't debate the small percentage that they may be wrong on. Meaning, Samantha was sometimes wrong about, case in point. I think she was wrong that I was trying to be slippery sales guy. I really was trying to be authentic, but I didn't really know. And so I had to stop debating her on that, and I just had to own it. So don't debate the small little facets within the conversation of where they're wrong. Just own what they are right about. Which leads me to the next point, which is stop with the need to be right. Man, I was the king. I was the debate guy. I was trained in debate. I had to be right, and I had to find points to be right about. And you know what? I will tell you, in all honesty, finding those little points to be right about negated everything that I was trying to do with Samantha to win her back. Give up the need to be right. Give up the idolatry in your heart for you to be right, and just take it like a man. Take it like a woman. Just embrace it and let them have their moment so that you can find out where you're missing it and learn how to establish new points of empathy. Now, my disclaimer is, do not marathon betrayed spouse. Marathoning is where you talk and belabor and hammer on something for 45, an hour, 2, 3 hours. Nothing good will be accomplished. 30 minutes, if it's really a good talk, or if it's really something that's critical, maybe 45. But after that, dude, the heart rate spikes, the defensiveness kicks in, all of the multiple personalities start to show up. Don't do it. You can't win. Today I'm going a little bit longer because there's a lot of points that I want to give you to be able to learn how to be empathetic and really create empathy. Another one is, and this really worked well for us, and we still do it now, is writing letters. There's just some moments where face-to-face, old personalities kick up, kind of old things happen. So I have learned how to write an email. I've learned how to send a letter. I've learned how to leave a note, leave a letter. I would encourage you to do it because what it does is it diffuses the attacking, high-intensity moment, and it creates a softness where your receiving spouse can process the letter, take some deep breaths, read through it a few times, and really find the gold within the genuine, authentic letter of pouring your heart out to your spouse. It's just easier to sometimes, maybe later, write a letter, and you can even share some things in that letter that if you said in person, you would get stabbed or shot. But in the letter, you can say, sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like I'm trying to be authentic and genuine and caring, but you label me as the master salesman. But I need you to know that I am, and here's a good moment, I am genuinely sorry. I am sorry for, and then lay out what you're sorry for. Or another thing, and this is the big leagues, when you are able to say, I'm not trying to tell you how you feel, but you probably feel A, B, C. You probably feel as though I'm really just trying to sell you, and I'm really back on stage and in character again, and you probably feel like it's not authentic. But I need you to know, in the dark, horrible moments where I drive to work every day, I am in touch with what a failure I feel like. I am in touch with how I've let so many people down. I am in touch with how frustrated I am because I can't make you feel better. That's all genuine because I felt like that every day when I drove to work early on. You've got to find ways to cut through the noise and the misperceptions and the accusations and be able to be genuine with your spouse. Finally, and I appreciate you if you've hung with me this long, but finally, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is when you apologize, when you are trying to connect, allow them room to expand. What I used to do is I would say, you know what, Samantha, I'm sorry, you are right, I get it, that was dumb. And she would say, thank you. What I need you to know, and I would say, no, I don't want to get into it, let's just celebrate how good my apology was. Let's just embrace how awesome that was. I don't need you to talk or vent or feel or emote. I just need you to celebrate this really skilled apology here. Don't be like me. When you apologize, when you own what you're doing and they still want to talk about it, as long as they're not marathoning, let them talk about it. Here's how it would go. Samantha, last night, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that or make you feel that way, but I know that I made you feel that way. And I'm sorry, it sucks, and I'm going to work hard to never do that again. I'm going to talk to Rick about it as well. And Samantha would say, thank you. It means a lot that you get that. Because what I was feeling, and I would say, no, come on, can we just embrace this moment? And she would say, see, and she would lose her mind. She would say, see, you never let me talk and emote and share. Dude, it would go south bad. And here we are again, back on the merry-go-round. So unfaithful, let them emote for at least a couple of minutes, and betrayed, don't marathon. Don't keep stabbing them after you've stabbed them. Let them sit there, let them own it, and embrace that moment. And if you have to emote a couple of more minutes, fine, but put a short fuse on that. I hope that these things help you today.